Hello, Jamie here, just diving in before this episode. If you're here every week and you want to support the show, then check out our Patreon. You get ad-free feed, you get weekly green room after shows and Q&A episodes where your questions help shape the conversation. There's a few different layers depending on how much you love it, but the link's in the show notes. Have a look. Enjoy the show. Welcome to Needle Exchange, conversations on the art of thread. I'm Jamie Chalmers, aka Mr. X-Stitch, and today I'm interviewing Katarina Orolinova. Katarina's practice made me properly stop in my tracks. She takes the logic and delicacy of lace and blackwork and then translates it onto perspex. Laser cut holes, stitched geometry, reflections, and this almost sacred sense of depth. In this first part of our needle exchange, we get into how glass blocks, safety glass, and architecture all feed her pattern-making brain, and what happens when you scale embroidery up into modular wall panels that take a month to stitch. I kid you not. Katarina's work is fascinating. Be sure to follow her on Instagram and see what happens, because she's got a really fresh approach. Very modern. I absolutely love it. If you enjoy this episode, be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss the second part of our conversation, and I will be back next week with that second part of the conversation. So until then, enjoy the show. So, I was struck upon seeing your work with the left field thinking of it, and it made me very, very happy indeed. And I would like you to tell me how you came to produce such work. And I'm going to sit back for like an hour now.
Well, it actually happened on a uni.
Right.
Yeah. But come to the perspex, we need to slowly talk about a little bit of lace.
Yes, please. Love that.
So we had a brief for to create bobbin lace jewelry, wearable.
Okay.
And at the same time, it was about to pushing it further.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I really liked the patterns of bobbin lace when they are on the cards.
Yeah.
And then was like, let's push it to a modern century and how it look like if it's drawn on a computer in a bitmap version.
Mm-hmm.
So then I just was placing squares next to a square to get the bobbin lace. Then it got laser cutted, engraved, and then I actually had to produce the actual lace piece in it. So it was reminiscing a little small brooches, tablecloths, which was very popular it's still popular, in Slovakia to have a decorative tablecloths on the tables, coffee tables. And it's part of the heirlooms as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The next year, because it was already on master's degree, we didn't have a brief so far, so we could go any way we want. But upon talking with my tutor, she was like, oh yeah, those brooches were very excellent. You could try something similar.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was playing with, okay, if I can embroider it, what I can do with it. Actually, I have a stash of my diploma. So then I was playing with the...
Right. And that's just on like thin pieces of perspex, what, just punching the holes yourself?
Needles, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it got to it that how would I make it into an art piece? And there was a suggestion to make it a site specific.
Right.
And okay, so I just needed to find a space where it would go and what would actually inspire me. So I talked to my uncle, and he is like, oh, he was in a charge of one building who had the 4-story staircase with the glass blocks, those bricks, those glass bricks.
Oh, I know. They were like privacy blocks or whatever, those slightly greeny ones. Right.
These were clear ones, but still you cannot see. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. It's just like complete feature wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. And other inspiration is also the the safety glass, which is wire inside in it.
Yeah.
So how you can do that and how it can be incorporated as an art piece, because those basic technical materials are kind of interesting.
It's funny, isn't it? It's like a wasted opportunity there, safety glass, because if they thought about it, they could just put a pattern in there that was quite pleasing and suddenly you've got like beautiful safety glass.
Yeah. So this got me thinking to create something where the embroidery is applied to it, but it doesn't reminiscent that you actually have something concrete, that you are just playing with the structure.
Mm-hmm. And then you've gone quite shiny, like you've dipped into this idea of like infinity mirrors and that kind of thing, haven't you?
There was a couple years ago, there was a team for the Broadway Arts Festival to create something. It was a reflection.
Right.
And because the perspex on its own, it's reflecting stuff,
Mm-hmm.
how I could deepen the effect and create the infinity.
Yeah. And is that an idea you're still exploring?
Possibility, but not in a color.
Right.
Yeah, maybe the clear one. But then I have now 6, 7 different possibilities how I'm gonna play with the pattern, and especially black work.
Right.
Because went through my notes and noticed that some of the patterns which I created without knowing a black work are actually black work patterns.
Right. Yeah. And I suppose you look at, for instance, Chloe's use of black work, which is like about as good as it gets right now. And that must be a really interesting, because it pulls it so far away from like the traditional motifs. And you've already taken this in an interesting direction through a use of perspex rather than fabric. I guess you're really like being stretched in these really fascinating directions.
Yes, and to move it into just the beauty of the structure.
Yeah. Because I think that's what I was taken with. So, I saw your images and actually it would be lovely to see the work in real. I mean, can you describe them? Imagine this is an audio podcast and no one's ever seen the stuff before. Let's describe the work. That'd be a good idea.
Let's describe the work. Okay, I have the blue piece on the wall, so I can look at it.
Excellent. Everybody close your eyes and use your imagination. Unless you're driving.
Well, please don't. Like, imagine the building glass blocks and start looking, and like when you close your eyes, you see the light effects and looking for the patterns. And then looking for a sense to it, like connecting the dots with the lines.
Right.
And at the same time to try to create them with the least amount of repeating movements. Like coming back, like when you draw the house with one line to without.
Yeah.
Because the clearness of the perspex one allows you to come back, but then it's doubling the thread.
Oof.
So you want to try to keep it to minimum. So one thread per side of the perspex maximum.
Right. So, and then they're geometric designs that have a nod towards traditional blackwork motifs, or they didn't realize it at the time.
Yeah. Those original ones started from my perception of the glass blocks bricks. If I can draw a pattern out of it, how it would look like.
Yeah. It's interesting what you say about after images as well, isn't it? That thing of like, sometimes you get those visual tricks where if you stare at a thing of a certain color and then you look away, you get the after images. Is that the kind of concept that you're alluding to? Like the after effect of a building when you've looked at it or something like that?
Pretty much. So
the ghost of a building. Yeah.
Architecture, and at the same time, it's the beauty of that, these geometric patterns you find everywhere without you seeing them. You just have to draw them out.
Yeah. No, I think I don't know if I gasped, because I don't know if I'm much of a gaspy kind of person, but I definitely remember just seeing the work and just being like, wow. And a sort of wow. You know, like if you see a spider's web and it's
Yes.
covered in dew from the morning, so you see it and you just go like, wow. Like there's some, like you say, some beautiful geometry. There's some beautiful engineering there. And I think because yours is, it's got this delicateness and yet it's got this use of different layers. So there's a kind of depth and a perception to it. And then you've got the reflections and the after effects. It sounds weird, but for some reason, it almost feels like there's a holiness to it. Like it's like sacred geometry or something like that.
Yes.
Does that seem fair?
Yes. It does. It seems fair. Got eventually, when I was doing on my master's diploma, on the theoretical part, I was getting through the evolution of ornament in Czechoslovakia in the first half of the 20th century.
Right.
And it went from the arts and crafts inspiration, they started everything. They started big revolution.
Right.
So it went to figurative through geometric, hence the cubism in architecture in Czech Republic.
Right.
And Pavel Zianak in theory, the crystals and their use in cubism. And it's completely something different out of the world.
You see, I think what needs to happen now is you're saying these things to me and I'm nodding like I know what you're talking about, but I promise you, I do not know what you're saying to me. Tell me about this. This is fascinating. Tell me about this. I don't know anything about this.
Sometimes I get lost in my process thoughts as well.
No, I love it. I'm interested because I do, I want to, somewhere down the line, I want to talk about the Slovakian tradition of embroidery. I want to lean into that because you are part of that, whether you like it or not. But I'm interested in this. So tell me more about this. You're saying there was a lot of like originating artistic expressions from that region. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Well, we have Czechoslovakia at that time had two similar groups as arts and crafts. One was Artel. The other one I can't remember. But, they're all inspired, like Wiener Werkstätte, arts and crafts. They all influenced each other, but each of them took it a little bit different way of the product creation and whole design.
Mm-hmm.
But you find very the similarities between them. And then Czech Republic goes, okay, let's go with cubism in architecture and in design overall.
Right. And imagine I'm an idiot, not hard.
Yes.
Cubism in architecture. Because the problem is we're in the 21st century, so we take a lot of this stuff for granted. And for me, you say cubism, whatever that is. You say cubism, and then I think of brutalism for some reason, because I feel like that style of architecture has a lot of hard geometry in it. But cubism in architecture, then, what does that mean?
It's so building and constructing using the principles of cubism, but it doesn't go as crazy. It still had to be practical.
Mm-hmm. Was it prior to that then buildings would have been a bit more freeform, less? Are they looking at like fixed dimensions, cubes, rectangles, that kind of thing? Or
it was in the 20s of the 20th century. So when the cubism was in...
Right.
So it's
okay.
A little bit difficult to explain it.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Do you know what I mean? This isn't an architecture podcast. I'm just recognizing that I don't know something and you know more than me. So it's worth trying to find out.
But I do like their approach to when they try to recreate the cubist interior.
Right.
So the chairs, like they were physically normal chairs, but then the backrest was more triangular, like you would see nowadays, modern. But that time, the way of thinking how to create it and the cabinets, and what I read was like they needed to have a lot of internal structure because they were creating only in wood.
Right.
So it was like a massive, apparently very impractical, but at the same time, it looked odd.
Right.
Different.
Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's got to be done, right?
Yes. Someone has to bring it, otherwise... we wouldn't have the inspirations now.
Yeah, yeah. And then they smoothed off the corners, and then you get a bit mid-century in the 60s or something like that. So you were talking about this in your masters?
Yes, the theoretical, because I wanted to create divider wall.
Right.
So basically, when you had the feeling of wow after you saw the perspex piece on the photos, I had something similar when I created them, and then when I saw them on the wall, that I need to create something big.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I created a wall which is 2.5 to 2 meters.
Right. The same principle.
Yes.
Where is that wall now?
Under my parents' bed.
Like all the best walls.
Well, it's built from the different perspex pieces, so it's actually now. Building took around 1 day. Embroidering it took about a month.
Wow.
Yeah, but I wasn't doing anything else.
Yeah. So so hang on. So it's 2.5 meters tall.
Yes.
How many holes?
One perspex has around, depends on the size. So those one, which white block has around 2,000 on one
Right.
sheet.
Right.
But I get them laser cut, not drilled by hand. But I have to place every single hole in a computer program.
Yeah. And is it just a structure? Is it a grid structure?
Okay, with the black work will be.
Mm-hmm.
But with this one, it was manual. So I had the pattern, find the holes, and then copy and paste it, and then layering, and then searching.
I remember a long time ago, I did an exhibition. It was at the Knitting and Stitching show. And I had a car door from Severina from Lithuania who embroiders through car doors. And I knew this was going to bloody happen. I also had an interior door that was done by an artist whose name's bloody escaped me. This is dreadful. This is like old man syndrome, right?
Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, and I will come back and edit this in later and go, so and so, such and such. God, sorry. But I remember saying to people at the time, like, I would joke with kids and I'd just say, look, just take a drill and stick some holes in an internal door and see what happens, But in some ways, you think like things like that, like beautifying panels, particularly doors and those kind of frameworks, you're just like, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Seems a bit so you've done the wall, and then how many, 2,000 holes, 2,000 stitches?
Well, I never counted it.
Okay. How many other wall panels?
Hold on. I need to count them.
I'll play some incidental music in the meantime.
Yeah. Okay, 22 panels in total.
22 panels, each with 2,000 stitches on them.
Not. That depends on the size.
Okay.
Okay, let's use this one. This was one of the models.
Right.
So you can see the sizings.
Okay. Wow. That's some clever stuff. Can you describe that to the listeners?
So needed to create a design for the wall. So, and unfortunately, the limitations were I couldn't do it to have two sheets on top of each other, because the limitations, financial and space wise.
Yeah.
So I had to go in the concept of smaller panels. So technically now the panels could be a standalone art piece, but they can be one big product.
Yeah. So you've got these modular panels and they've each got slightly different pattern formations on them. Like you say, you could turn them into a sort of creative pod. You've got the ability. That in and of itself, in some ways, is an interesting concept, isn't it? Just like modular art, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, the opponent of my thesis, she's an architect. She was very interesting to see this, that it's a modular thing if it's get to creation. that it actually could be a movable way on a, if you have a, like a roller doors.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it could be movable panels, it could be whole sections.
Yeah, it's interesting because that's the sort of thing we have to think about here in the gallery I'm developing. We need movable walls. We need those kind of things. So actually, like you say, room dividers, creating those kind of pieces. Is it? It's interesting, isn't it? Because you look at them, and then it also, just because they're all on the same piece of paper there, but I get kind of domino vibes about it. So it reminds me once again of Small Things, which I guess is originally where your lace ideas came from in the first place. But I get a sense that you've just got bigness. Bigness is the thing that you want to go for.
Sometimes it's not about the big, it's just give the pattern and the exploration the means of the size. Because if something is really tiny, you cannot fit many people to watching it. But then if something is big, then it can create a talk as well.
Yeah. And I guess there's that trade-off, isn't there, with a lot of these formats, same with cross-stitch, of the compromise you have to make because of the scale of things. Do you want a photorealistic cross-stitch, but because it's on 14 stitches per inch, it has to be like 4.5 foot wide? And I guess you've got a similar conversation there, haven't you? Like the limitations of what you can do, but the scale of what you want to achieve.
The limitations are the size of the laser cutting machine bed.
Are they? Right. So we need a bigger laser cutter then. We need somebody. There's got to be somewhere, haven't there?
Oh, definitely they are industrial, but then I need another person who's going to be passing the needle.
Yeah. As anybody, even when I've done like outdoor work on like fence panels or whatever, you're just like, yeah, this gets a bit ridiculous. Because, unless you've got like incredibly long arms,
yeah,
it doesn't seem very realistic.
Kind of impossible.
I've remembered now, Sarah Greaves. I just want to say Sarah Greaves because she was the one. She embroidered poetry on doors. She embroidered. We did this exhibition and we took it to London and Dublin and Harrogate as part of the Knitting and Stitching show. And then we also ended up with the show being at Milton Keynes Gallery, which was lovely because I was able to add extra pieces to it. And at that point, she brought in a bathtub. And she'd like drilled holes through that and she'd written like words of poetry around the inside of the bathtub as well. And I was just like, kids, just get a drill, just go home and do it.
But that reminds me, artist Cole Lane.
Right.
She is inspired by the lace patterns, but she put them into industrial objects like a wheelbarrow. So she is using, what's it called? When you cut metal with a...
Oh, is it like a CNC machine or like a...
No, CNC machine. It's a manual.
Right.
Even when you're connecting metals.
Oh, what, like a welding torch?
Yes, welding. She is like a welding and using this technique to create lace patterns into wheelbarrows, barrels, and even shovels.
Yeah, I love that. I love that idea. I think as well, there's another artist called Nayspoon, and she does like lace murals. She did one on her Instagram fairly recently, and it's about 2 stories high, and it's almost just like one lace design, but she's scaled it up, and it's kind of like a graffiti painted version of that. But just that thing, I love that kind of thing because, I've gone on about it before in the past. Like I think lace is amazing, and it's such a fragile craft because it's something that machine embroidery has somewhat decimated from a cost standpoint. And yet it's this thing that's like part of so many cultural heritages.
Oh, yeah. And they influence each other.
Yeah. Have you got, the starting point you said was these brooches that you did, these kind of small things there. How did that idea form? And were there specific patterns, were there specific elements of the Slovakian culture that you focused on or that you brought into play?
Well, the brief wasn't per se to use any concrete patterns. So I had a classmate who did literally, it was like a whale.
Right.
But it was like the shape of glasses made of bobbin lace.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Like it. Because I guess you can do anything, couldn't you? You don't have to be geometric patterns. You could do. For some reason, I always think of square words as my.
So I basically, what I did, those floral and those patterns, I geometrized them and get them laser engraved.
Yeah. And was that? I mean, can you remember when you were just like, this feels like a thing? Can you remember when the idea got a bit sticky for you?
It went at the beginning because I was playing with the lace, like what I'm gonna do, and then I just starting drawing or coloring squares on a paper with how the lace could look like that if it's translated into a different pattern, into a knitting pattern, or even a cross stitch. How you can do that? So you just have to go manually and do squares, fill the squares. And even weaving, because the weaving patterns are basically squares.
Yeah. So it's a kind of alchemy, I suppose. It's like not like turning lead into gold, but it's like turning lace into something else.
What I like to also see is like if you have one pattern, how it's gonna look like in a different techniques. So let's say one of my first perspex, actually, I have a knitted scarf.
Right.
So I translated the pattern into squares for a knitting machine.
So hang on, because I'm trying to wrap my head around this because it feels like we've gone to a different dimension all of a sudden.
I can bring it. If you give me a second.
Yeah, go on. That'd be great.
So this is the scarf.
Oh, wow. That's really clever. So what I'm looking at is a scarf, and the pattern design is very clearly a sort of lace design. I guess, like you say, it's pixelated. I was talking about this on my other podcast. I'm just going to shout out my other podcast for a second, actually. It's called Craft Talking, and at the moment, although now this will be, in the past, we did a whole series because the TV show Game of Wool has come out, which is like Bake Off but for knitters, and they were doing Fair Isle patterns, which have these sort of small pattern repeats, and in a way there's a similar vibe with what you're doing there. But yeah, you've based a lace design and then you use two colors and pretty much reproduce that design, but it's pixelated and it's in a knitted format.
So this is actually the pattern of my first perspex in the knitted format.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, and then you play around with it. You see if there are different ways of doing it. I had a similar idea.
And now I'm also playing with the pattern play to translate it into a needlepoint. Because a couple of years ago, in Bergen corner of a certain shop, I found ugly yellow tabouret.
Right.
And the immediate, oh my God, this would be perfect needle-pointed tabouret. But it took me several years what I'm going to embroider it.
Okay.
So now I got it that's, okay, let's again go play and translate one of my perspex pattern into the needlepoint.
Because that's interesting, isn't it? Because traditionally needlepoint is like a tent stitch. It's just a single diagonal and they all go in the same direction, whereas your lace patterns are going to need you to be going in different directions, right?
Well, that's going to be playing with the stitch directions as well. Discuss it with Chloe already.
Yeah. Shout out. For the unknown listener, so you're studio mates with Chloe Savage.
I'm her apprentice.
I was giving you more credit there.
Embroidery apprentice, kit designer, sample stitcher.
Yeah. And just, I don't know, stitching great. I mean, you two sound like you have a right laugh when you work together, to be honest, when the deadlines aren't there and stuff. So. Yeah, but also Chloe's got such a wealth of knowledge, isn't it? What a fantastic person to be able to use as a sounding board for these projects.
Yes, but we bouncing ideas from each other as well. Because also it's good to have someone who has a background in a complete different. Like I have the applied art, technically. The degree is a master's degree in applied art with a specialization in textiles.
Right. That's such a cool sounding master's as well.
So and the studio where I studied it was they used to call it Textiles in Space. It's Textiles in Space. So the textile department of Academy of Fine Arts and Design has 3 studios: textile design, fashion design, and fiber and textiles in space.
Okay, right. Okay, I don't expect you to know this reference, Spike, but have you heard of the Muppet Show?
Yeah, no, I don't know Muppets. They are not typical for Slovakian Muppets.
But like Kermit the Frog, Miss Piggy, and all that, right? And when I was a kid growing up, that was one of my favorite programs. And they had a segment on there that was called Pigs in Space, which is basically just like pig astronauts. And the problem is you've said textiles in space, and my brain's immediately gone there, which is less than helpful. But presumably, we are talking about textiles structurally rather than perhaps just flat in a hoop and that kind of thing.
Textile structurally in environmental space rather than actual space.
Yeah, rather than beyond the atmosphere and that sort of thing. Although
it's textiles beyond, it's exploring textiles with a different way. We were taught to explore the textile with textile techniques in a non-traditional way or traditional textiles.
Just as an aside as well, I once interviewed a lady called Dr. Karen Nyberg, who made art quilts, but also lived on the International Space Station for 180 days and technically did textiles in space.
Nice.
That's quite handy. She should come swing by, see all that. Yeah, but it's really interesting because I think that idea of scale as well, and the idea of like what can be achieved with that. Like there's this massive building near where I live that's like 13 stories high, and every time I drive past it, I look at it and I just think, imagine putting a grid on the side of it and putting a massive cross stitch picture on the side of something of that sort of size. You know, imagine like I feel like that's the sort of scale that you could handle, kind of.
Well, if you have a project, I'm pro for it.
If I have a project in a cool £200,000 budget or something or other.
I mean,
but yeah, it's fascinating that, isn't it? Just and where you can go with the scale of things and how far, because there'll be a certain point when embroidery thread will be an unfeasible material to use, isn't it? It feels like, because you're translating. Oh, and just as an aside, I love the fact that you found a piece of fabric. You were like, I'm going to use this one day. How satisfying to finally go, I'm going to use that piece of fabric now. That must be quite nice. But yeah, you're taking a lace pattern and pushing it in the different directions to see where the limits are and see where the stopping points become. And then it feels like with the work you're doing with perspex, you've got the opportunity to be playing at a different dimension, almost like the third dimension, isn't it? Like the physicality of these things to see what is achievable.
Yeah. Like, yes, to play with just a pattern on its own and to see where it can lead me and because it's a beautiful structure, blackboard patterns. Like,
yeah.
Sometimes the beauty of the pattern is all you need.
Yeah.
And the shading, like I do like that it can go very photographic, but then the beauty of pattern is that thing what is attracting me. What drives me is just like seeing the pattern, the geometry. You see the chaos and at the same time the ordnung.
The what?
Well, for some reason in art philosophy, it's called ordnung. The
Ordnung.
chaos, ordnung, German.
Okay. Oh, sorry. You mean the chaos?
Yeah, opposite to chaos, you have the
order. I like order. Okay.
Order, chaos, and order as well.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just having a bit of a brain freeze there for a sec. It's interesting, yeah. And do you find that there's something that by making the patterns in these unorthodox situations, it gives the pattern the opportunity to shine? Because in the same way as if you, I don't know, when people used to do swear words out of cross stitch, which they still do, it is unexpected. And so therefore it gives both things the opportunity to get thought of differently. Do you find, is there a bit of magic in there that appeals to you?
Of embroidering swear words?
No. I mean, maybe if anybody was going to do it 7 foot high on perspex, that'd be funny. No, but just the fact that, you take these patterns and you put them in these different contexts. So and by placing them on perspex and giving them this reflectiveness and giving them this untextile, by making a textile in a space, you give the pattern the center stage.
Yes. Just giving, because then we know that usually the patterns on textiles are as a complementary cushions or nowadays art pieces, but installations. You see the structure and the pattern, and that's what sometimes should be about as well, not the concreting, just to see the beauty of the structure.
Yeah.
And everybody can see what is in it, and to reflect what they want to see, what they see, and how they feel about it.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's a weird inverse of it. I was just thinking, like, there's a company that I really like called Fabric Flare, and they make cross-stitch fabric, but they do a lot of printing onto the fabrics, and you can have bespoke things printed. But for instance, with the cross-stitch magazine, we had a caravan pattern, and we simply put it on a piece of their fabric that was blue at the top and green in the bottom and kind of faded between them. But it provides an opportunity, even in that simple way, for the fabric to be part of the conversation.
Yes.
So you're giving the fabric an opportunity to step up to the plate. And weirdly, you're doing the same thing. It's a slightly different direction, isn't it? But it's like saying this bit part player, this thing that you've always just had as a border or a thing like that, or just something that's on a tablecloth that's taken for granted, you're affording people the time to stop and pay a bit of respect.
Yes, like feel like, don't think about what you want to, how you want to use the pattern. Just use the pattern on its own. It doesn't have to be part of something concrete. It's just the pattern has its own beauty.
Hello, Jamie here. If you've made it this far, you are exactly the kind of listener that needs to know about our Patreon scheme. If you want to help keep NeedleXChange going and get more from it, you can join as a member. With our Backstage Pass level, you get the ad-free private RSS feed, and you get that warm, fuzzy feeling of knowing that you're helping NeedleXChange remain free so that other people can enjoy it. In our Green Room layer, you get all of that, plus a weekly 10 to 12 minute after show. Oh yeah, bonus content. And you can submit questions to our forthcoming Q&A episodes. And if you want to go all the way, our executive producer Leia adds a quarterly patron-only group show. Imagine 4 different machine embroidery artists talking with each other about the medium they love. Oh yes, we can make that happen. You also get your name on the producer wall. Just head to patreon.com/xstitch or tap the link in the show notes. Your support will keep NeedleXChange going and make it so that we can really celebrate this medium that we love. Thank you for helping. I'll see you soon.